Greetings, boys and girls. We got another wonderful episode of Sawdust Talk tonight. We've got Dustin with Lumberox Woodworks, and Braden and Kamani are going to be on the show with me. Sorry about the false start a couple seconds ago. Had to make sure that I was on the right Wi-Fi network, but we should be up and running and coming in loud and clear. Look at all of these cool kids piling in right now. If any one of you could just pop a comment in that says you're coming in loud and clear, TJ, and yeah, we'll slowly start all piling in here. Let's see here. You guys still see me? Yeah. Good. Dustin, you're here.
Yes, sir. Hello.
That is wonderful. Look at all the cool kids all piling in all at the same time. That's wonderful. We'll get Kamani and Braden here in just a second. If somebody from the audience, please, could point out that you can hear us and see us nice and loud and clear, that would be wonderful. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, Kamani's in here. All right. Just a few more seconds while the rest of the cool kids all start piling in. Braden's in here too. Hopefully they'll just magically pop up. One. And wait a minute. Well done, boys and girls. All right, well, I suppose we can get this show on the road. I'd love to welcome you all to Sawdust Talk. I'm going to be running the show tonight as TJ from TJT Workshop, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Most of the woodworking that I do takes place on a lathe, but every once in a while there's, who knows, metal work, a little bit of 3D printing, some flat work. I don't know. We get sassy in this workshop. Kamani, I'm going to send it over to you and then over to Braden, and then Dustin, you can kind of bring us home with a brief introduction, and then we'll just start raking you over the coals with questions.
Got it.
Hey, I'm Kimani with Van Stray Designs, based out of Tacoma, Washington. I do a little bit of everything from CNC to epoxy to some laser and a little bit of 3D printing.
I'm Braden with Little Bug Woodworking. I'm based out of Omaha, and I do a little bit of everything. I just like to get in trouble, and usually it's wood related. So, all right, Dustin, what you got?
I'm Dustin. I'm Lumberox Woodworking. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. I started in power carving, but I still do a little bit of that. But mostly now I'm doing fine furniture, cabinetry, tables, coffee tables, stuff like that. Just pumped to be here and share the story.
Okay, so as we start asking you questions, this is just going to be a pleasant reminder to all of the cool kids in the chat that there's a little text bubble with a question mark down at the bottom. If you guys are going to have questions for Dustin regarding, let's see here, come on, notifications, power carving or flat work or round work or who knows, cuts all bits, this is definitely the guy to be talking to. And speaking of cuts all bits, I'm going to start there. How did you and cuts all get so chummy?
Well, you know, I kind of started woodworking during COVID, kind of like a lot of people I think did. I was sitting on the couch, you know, watching YouTube, and I stumbled upon a guy named John Malecki. I'm like, he's kind of funny, you know. Then I kind of, you know, went down the road, and then I found Blacktail Studio, and I saw that Blacktail at the time was doing one of his crazy leg sculptures for a table. And I'm like, cuts all, huh? Okay, that's interesting. And I kind of just put in the back of my brain, and then I started seeing these power carved flags everywhere. And I'm like, how are people doing that? I can't afford a CNC. So that was kind of like my entry into woodworking, and I think it's a very cheap entry is power carving, because you really only need a grinder, you know, a burr, or maybe a wheel and a sander, and you can kind of do a lot of things with that, with those combinations. And then how we got chummy, as you say, they're based in Michigan, and my wife is from Michigan, so we frequent Michigan a lot. And I did some work with them, and I said, hey, I'm going to be in Michigan. I'd love to come like see your guys' facility. So I've actually got a tour where the Kutzall full line of tools are made in Michigan. I got to see them all. And like when they say made in America, it's people working here in America putting them together. There's no like mass machinery. It's a lot of it's like hand placed things that they all put together. So that kind of started a relationship with them, and they've been with me from the start. And they're a good. Mike and Scotty are the owners. Their dad founded the company, and they're good people. So you know, they're there to listen. They're there to help. They're here to grow the woodworking community, and they kind of share the passion I do that anyone can power carve, because there's no really wrong way to power carve. You know, you just do it.
I feel like there's, with a grinder wheel and something like Kutzall, I feel like there has to be wrong ways to do it.
I'm sure there is a wrong way. I mean, definitely PPE is important. You know, respirator, face shield, glasses, whatever that might be, ear protection. I wear gloves. It's the only tool I wear in my shop where I wear gloves is when I'm running the power wheel. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty fun. It's fun.
So those wheels that have the chainsaw chains around the outside, the Mutilator 3000s,
yeah, the ER,
I would feel like that is an example of power carving the wrong way.
yeah, the ER Visit 101.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess you use those if you want to make sure you're truly wearing ballistic eyewear.
No. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, we're gonna test if this gear is worthwhile. Gotcha.
Yes.
Safety,
All right.
Safety squints.
Yes.
Yeah. Kamani, what do you got going on down there, man?
Me, not too much, but I kind of perused your page today. Did the deep dive back all the way to 2020.
Yeah.
To kind of see where you kind of got your start. So you kind of already hinted at it. You know, you stuck at home with COVID, kind of got inspired. And so what was it about flags, I guess, in particular, that really drew you to kind of starting your power carve journey?
Well, I've been in the Army since 2003, deployed once to Afghanistan, 09 to 10. So, you know, flags are cool. You know, there are a lot of people. It's a very saturated business, I feel like now, because they're everywhere, especially with the CNC. But for me, that's where it started, because I didn't need any big tools. I went down to Lowe's or Home Depot, the big box stores, and I bought 2x4s and I glued them together, and I didn't know what I was doing. I started carving, you know. So that was how my entry to that was. And then, you know, I sold a few flags, and then I bought an old 4-inch joiner, you know. So, okay, now I can do something, you know. So sold a few more, got a table saw. Sold a few more, got a planer. And then that's what kind of propelled me into, you know, I look at sometimes the first few flags that I did, and I'm like, my customers love me, because, you know, I just feel like they're night and day to where, you know, what I started as and where they're at now. And no, I'm not ripping. I have a CNC too. I'm not ripping on the CNC flags. I just like that when I power carve a flag, they're all different. There's no template. There's no design. And like I tell people all the time, when you're driving down the road and you see Old Glory flying, you can take 1,000 pictures, not one's going to be the same. You know, the waves are never replicated. They're never the same. And it's just like nature. There's no straight lines in nature. So just let it go. You're not going to be wrong.
Right on.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not ripping on CNC, but if you use a CNC, you're bad, and you should feel bad.
CNCs are only for template making, right? No, like I said, I have a CNC. I've done 3D flags on it. I do 3D stuff on them. It's fun, and there's nothing wrong with it. But for me too, it's about time. If you do like this flag behind me, that's 36 by 19. That's a few hours on the CNC. Whereas I can carve that out in about 30 to 45 minutes and then sand it, you know, about 3 to 4 hours, you know. So it's just, you know, give and take. One's going in there. I call my CNC my assistant. It's always working too. And it, you know, it doesn't call in sick, doesn't come in late.
Yeah.
So I understand it.
And it only smokes a little bit, and it sends most of the smoke outside, right?
Right. Yes. Right in the dust collector.
Do you think it would go faster on the CNC if you used Kutzall bits in it? Just get all sorts of flappy wheels and stuff and just yeet them on through the computer?
I've wanted to do like maybe a video of like why not to use these on the CNC. I don't want to put my CNC through that.
How not to use Kutzall bits and how not to use a CNC?
Yes. Not designed for that. No.
No. And so what's the largest, I see the one back there, but what's the largest flag that you've done to date?
I've done a 5-foot flag. So I think it was 54 by like 32-ish. You know, dimensions, you know, there's actually a website. You just type in an American flag inch calculator, and it will tell you how much you need to mill your boards for your lines. It'll tell you how big your stars need to be, how big the union is. So you just, you know, and I've also learned too, a lot of people, oh, I want a 6-foot flag. And then, you know, you have them, hey, go take some masking tape and put 6 feet flag and put that on your wall. And then they usually respond, you know what, I'll do a 3-footer. Okay. Because I actually have one that I glued up over here. I'm going to make for the shop. And it's about 5.5 feet. And it's a massive piece of real estate, you know, and, you know, it weighs about 150 pounds.
So as I was kind of poking through some of your flag stuff, I noticed that you've got really defined edges on your stars and the blue field.
Yes.
Is that just from very careful masking, or do you want to share that technique with the rest of the cool kids, or is this closely guarded?
No, I never hold information back about woodworking. That's one thing I really love about the woodworking community is like really no one keeps secrets. You know, you could approach the best person in your area for whatever you're building. And my experience is most of the time, they're going to let you in on their secrets. So my
Except for Braden.
My secret is spend the money on frog tape. I use frog tape to do the whole thing. I know some people clamp their flags together, power carve them, separate them, sand them, stain them, and then put them back together. And that just adds another element of a level glue up, you know, and glue running out. So I just, I power carve the flag. I sand up to usually 220 with my Mirka. And then I clean it with mineral spirits 3 or 4 times. And then I just frog tape it on. And rather than staining like with a brush, I use a cotton ball. So I very delicately, it's not even staining. It's almost brushing it on very, very quick, you know, and it doesn't sit. As soon as it's wiped on, another rag goes behind it, it's wiped off. And then my stars, I use a vinyl cutting machine. So I have templates made up for all the flags I do, so I know how to do it, and I just lay them on. And I think, you know, if you guys have all looked through my page, I have other stuff in there too, where the union actually has, you know, company logos or, you know, insignias. And that's how I do mine, is just I have a Cricut and frog tape. Green frog tape specifically.
None of that blue stuff. Not to, by looking through your page, because you've done other stuff besides flags, but how did you manage to get a flag into John Malecki's shop?
Dang it, Kamani.
I took it, Braden. I took it.
I have the picture right here.
You want to show the picture?
Yeah, here.
Okay, yeah, I do. Yep, that's him, and that's my flag. And I was actually kind of, we'll start, and then we'll work back. When they moved shops, I'm like, man, I had some prime real estate in his last shop. And then, you know, I was sending messages when he opened up the new shop. I'm like, so where's that flag going to be going? And he's like, I got it planned. And then he kind of put it, you know, so it's in a lot of his videos. And that's just another thing where I messaged him into kind of the beginning. And I think I asked for some advice about machines, something that he had in his shop. I was asking him whether I should get the Festool OTS series grinder or excuse me, sander or the Mirka, because, you know, he has both. And that just kind of opened up a relationship. And I explained that my cousin played in the NFL. And he played for the Packers for 12 years. And I asked him, you know, if he knew him, and they had known each other. So that was kind of like my end. And then one of the big reasons I started woodworking too is I have PTSD from Afghanistan. And woodworking is a very soothing activity for me. And Malecki kind of shared how there's a program where veterans can link up with NFL players that have CTE and TBI and brain injuries, and they can work together. So him and I spent, you know, an afternoon one day just kind of chit-chatting about that. And I said, hey, I'm going to send you something. He's like, all right, this is my address. And I sent him the flag, and I had no plans of that to end up on his like main wall, and it did. And I'm just super thankful for it.
Awesome.
That's really cool. So you do a little bit of charity work also with some veterans. Do you want to take a couple minutes and fill us in on some of that stuff?
Yeah. So like I said, I think woodworking is a great tool to like relieve stress, or it can be very stressful depending on what you're doing. You know, it has its moments of, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head. And then you kind of, you know, you get a few projects under your belt. You're like, okay, I've encountered this before. But that's one of the reasons I started, is just like, you know, I felt so much better at the end of the day, like building something with my hands and creating something that other people are going to use. You know, that's really neat. So what I started to do is I do, kind of like, I guess, if veterans are in the area, they can come into my shop space and they build whatever they want. They just buy the lumber and I supply all the tooling and like the education to get them through the project. So that's something that I eventually kind of want to grow, you know, get to a bigger business to where, hey, they don't pay for anything. They come into the shop, you know, I have all the tooling, I have all the machines. What do you want to build? Like, let's rock and roll. And then hopefully, you know, it gets them lit with the woodworking bug. And, you know, and they go online and, you know, they might go buy a hand plane or a Japanese pole saw, and, you know, they might want to do hand cut dovetails and, you know, torture themselves for a week, you know, but whatever it might be, they're still contributing to the community of woodworking. Community of woodworking is very small too, in a sense. So it kind of provides that kind of brotherhood that a lot of people get out of the military and don't have anymore. And now they can kind of join in and, you know, give back to the community too. Because, you know, even when you're building something for a custom price, you're still giving it back to the community. You know, you're not building all this stuff and holding it in your house and not letting anyone see it. You're not sharing tips and tricks. You're just, you know, it's just different. So that's the kind of the plan, is to kind of, you know, get bigger to where I can afford, hey, I got the lumber covered, I got a sponsor, whatever it might be, coming on, let's build. You know, so I've done cutting boards with guys, I've done flag cases for burial. I got another guy coming up that we're going to build a rocking horse for his expecting wife, for their daughter. You know, so just stuff like that, where, you know, I have the tooling and the tools. So let's go build.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Braden?
that's really special, and I think it's a nice goal. Sorry to cut you off, Kamani. You were saying?
Oh, no, I was saying I was going to shoot it over to Braden. I won't steal any more of his questions.
That's all I had. I'm done for the night. I'm actually going to log off.
All right.
I'll see you guys later. No, so maybe I missed this. So do you do this full time, or do you do something else?
No, this is my gig.
So how was that, going from, you know, from whatever you're doing before to going full time? I mean, how do you pull the trigger to do that?
Jump and hold your breath. No, I think a big part of it is having the support of, you know, your friends, obviously your spouse, you know, where they can support you and doing stuff like that, you know. But, you know, I was in my garage for the first like 2 years in my 400 square foot garage, and it was packed. I don't have any smaller tools anymore. I've upgraded to like cabinets or full size. I have a Powermatic 180 planer, 18-inch, 5 horsepower, you know, 1970s, 2,000-pound planer that doesn't move once it gets set. You know, before I had a benchtop joiner, benchtop planer, a job site saw, but now I have an old Delta Unisaw with a 42-inch fence on it with a sliding miter, you know, so it's just really space. And then I'm very fortunate to have some guys that I share a shop space with. And that's crucial, because here in Arizona, not real estate's crazy, but commercial real estate is even more crazy. You know, so there's shops out there. It's just, you know, pulling that trigger to get into one. And then now you have that overhead literally over your head every month. Like, hey, if I don't make this, I got to move back home. You know, so it kind of lights the fire at the same sense. And, you know, I would love to live in the Midwest somewhere where I could just put up a pole barn or a shop. Can't do that here, you know. You guys are fortunate. But I'm fortunate here. You know, I got about 2,000 square feet of shop space here, and then an office. And then my CNC is in its own room with its own dedicated dust collector. So very fortunate to have, you know, the guys that I share shops with. One of them I was in the military with. They actually make custom concrete sinks, barbecue tops, vanities. You know, so a lot of our skills are kind of, you know, hand in hand. You know, I help them out, they help me out. It's really nice, especially like, I don't know if you guys saw on my page, I did that 6-foot ash dining room table. You know, you don't move something like that around yourself very easily. You know, so it's great. Hey guys, I need to stand the other side. Help me flip this. And, you know, we flip it over and they're like, what are you making? A table that's going to outlast all of us.
Big surfboard.
Yeah. I tell the the family that bought it. I said, if we get an earthquake, go underneath of it. If we get a flood, hop on top.
That's
Well,
a good
you're
plan.
fine both ways.
If you want to make it to the Midwest, there's an empty lot right next to my house, and the guy across the street is also a woodworker, and I run my CNC all the time, so you won't get noise complaints.
Perfect. I'm originally from the Midwest. I was born and raised in Iowa, so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Every time that I've been in Iowa, I had a good time.
You're probably sleeping as you drove across I-80, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I was shooting up 67 and happy to head back down it again.
Right, yeah, for sure.
I think
so I want to know, what gets you out of bed every morning? What is the thing that drives you to put feet on the floor and get into the shop?
Being successful, I think, is a big one. Making things that other people are going to put in their house, and the thought of, that's one thing. As a woodworker, we sell things all the time, and we never really hear back in a year, 3 years, or 5 years, like, how's the table holding up? How do you like your cabinetry? So the thought of, like, it's going to go in their house, and it's going to be a conversation piece for a while. They're going to have friends and family over, like, man, that's a cool table, that's a cool cabinet, that's a cool wall art, whatever it might be, is really, really neat. And then, I love going to the lumber yard and getting rough lumber and just bringing it back and be like, what's under, what are you hiding? What is this specific board of walnut? What are you going to look like when you're done? Or, man, this is a really ugly piece of wood, and just going through it, because sometimes I buy all my stuff rough sawn. I have the machinery. It's cheaper here locally for me to buy it like that. So the process of milling is actually one of my favorite processes. Is like, okay, what are you hiding? What's under your skin, kind of a thing. And then, just the hope that I can meet someone that I can impact and help in their journey too is what does it for me.
Nice.
so.
Fellas?
Well, we're hitting about the 20-minute mark, and I know you had said that you had some stuff that you wanted to give away. Do you want to maybe do one of those?
We can, yeah. Do you want me to talk about what they could possibly win, or
Yeah,
go ahead?
This is your show. You go right ahead.
I like blind number guessing personally. I thought that was incredibly clever, and it leads to chaos in the chat and the four of us giggling at the nonsense that our audience puts in there. But the ball is in your court, sir. Do as you wish.
Okay. Well, as we talked about earlier, Kutzall is a great supporter, so they're willing to do a 4.5 extreme dish. That's what I use to carve my flags with, and then they're also going to do a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch shaft burr kit that you can do other things with. I know some people have a Dremel, some people have a die grinder. So, whatever that, person has, we can accommodate to that. Spec Ops is another company that's been with me for a while, a military focused organization. They do 3% back on every purchase goes to military first responders. They're doing a 24-inch box beam level with rare earth magnets. It's called a tourniquet level. So you can put it on wood and wrap a tourniquet around it. So you don't have to hold the level and then have someone hold the level to hold the level to hold the post. And then Rubio Monaco, I'm a affiliate of theirs too. We're doing 2 free samples of their oil Pure 2C. And then Brunt Woodworks is going to do a hat. So just like this one, any color you want, has a built-in pencil holder.
It's slick pencil holder, man.
It actually fits framing pencils too.
To be clear, I called dibs on the hat. So
whatever number that is what you're going for, huh? And I can actually show real quick.
Ooh, kids, aren't you lucky? Tell all your friends they need to get in here. Start sharing. All the cool kids are up.
We got a shaping wheel here. I've done like 200 flags on one of my wheels. The only reason it went out is because I dropped it. But they're tungsten carbide. To clean them, you just soak them in acetone or hit them with a torch. They really don't go dull. They don't really throw these pieces off either. So that's nice. And then like this is one of the kits you'll be getting, something like this. A little bit of everything in there. You can do a lot with those kits. And I can actually show you one of the boxes I made later on with a kit like that. And then we got a box beam level here. So
look
really
at that.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
none of this is sponsored at all. You're just grabbing stuff off your own wall.
That's how it works. Yeah.
That box beam level, aka the tricky, sneaky joiner. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just some bottles like this from Rubio.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh man. Okay, so we got numbers starting to flow in. So far, we've had 42, 69, and 55. But yeah, those of you in the audience this evening, you might want to start guessing some random numbers between 1 and
100.
1 and 100. I'm curious to see. Oh, there's a 5.
And I'll keep track.
It's always 17, isn't it? Good gracious.
Yeah, I'm glad. I can't see the comments, so hopefully you guys can keep track of that.
Oh, that sucks, man. Every once in a while we have technology problems. We got 17, 21, 68, 14, 3.
Not yet.
hey,
No
Brent.
cigar.
59. I'm telling you, kids, we've got a great big pack of goodies and a tight audience. Probably 47, 76.
Somebody put
got
Q.
7.
Few counts. Well, let's hear 37, 23, 19, 83.
Okay, hold on. So 37.
Okay, wait.
Yep,
We got 37.
37.
All right. If you got 37, shoot me a DM. You just got a hat like this.
Huzzah
Sorry, buddy. Your hat.
for Red Leg Custom Woodworks.
And then
He
Awesome.
can use all the hats he can get.
He needs more like full face mask though.
Oh,
And then
you don't talk about my friends like that, even
What
when
was
it's
the-
true.
you said
Let's see. We got 23, 19, 83, 99. Looks like letter W.
I thought you said earlier someone guessed one under 10.
Yeah, we
I
had
think there
a couple under
was
10.
like a 3.
Yeah, it wasn't the right one.
Okay.
72, 6,
There's a
23 and 99 hundredths, 17 again.
100.
a 3. There's a 5.
There's a 56 and a 57, a 91. Ooh, that's juicy.
Can they still guess if they've already won something?
They have to decide who to give it to if they happen to win again.
Because he just guessed the 4.5 wheel. Same guy.
Let's see here.
You
2,
can't have everything.
9, pi, 4, 35. Souza, Deliat, start putting numbers in between 1 and 100. You could be winning prizes. Let's see here. 8. Yeah, geez, Scott. 7.
Close.
56. Kamani, totally counts. 10. 54.
Oh,
77.
okay. Who's that?
We got one.
We got a 54.
Yep.
54. Box beam levels coming your way. Shoot me a DM, please, so I can get your information.
Look at this. We got prizes out the wazoo, and I've located my wazoo, but once.
Oh, Frank with the level. All right.
There you go. 8, 6, 8, 9, 9, 73. 70.
Oh.
Well, should we move on to another question, and I can keep track of the numbers.
Braden, I believe in you. I believe in you, and you know what the magic numbers are. Okay,
Yeah.
So next question. Let's talk a touch about wood turning and your little jet friend.
Ed Mancini just won the Burr kit.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Way to
Go ahead.
go, Ed. Okay, so has the wood turning bug officially bit you yet, or is it still juvenile in its level of interest?
I think that wood turning for me is never going to make money for me. I think I love doing it. It's fascinating, turning stuff. I'm sure you must have saw some of the videos that I did. I think it's fun. It'd be kind of fun to turn a pan or a bowl. It's just, I'm not quite there. I'm still timid with the machine a little bit. it's a whole new learning curve, and I'm a big guy, so I just think that, I can push it through. I tried to push it through once, and it didn't feel good.
Yeah, no. When I first started, I used to wear a motorcycle helmet because
Okay.
I knew I was an idiot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, like, it's important to be prepared for how dangerous what you're doing and how dumb you may be. And
Yeah.
so that worked out really well. But I mean, it takes, I don't know. Do you ever try to play the drums? There's like just sort of a moment where everything sort of clicks. And even if it's like rock band drums, like I don't care, but like it'll all sort of click eventually.
Yeah.
And then this idea of getting rough lumber or playing with green wood, right? So this is like stuff that comes down in storms and stuff that you see lying on the side of the road. Then you get to start peeling that back and seeing the wonders that's on the
two of the things
inside.
on the wall behind me is from mesquite, and that came down in a storm. So I carved that when it was green, and that it's crazy because as fine furniture and everything else, we really don't deal much with green wood. We don't want anything with a moisture of 8 or whatever your area calls for. That has to sit outside. And you go into the wood turning world, and you want to do a bowl. Well, hey, you turn it green. Let it sit a little thick, let it dry on the shelf, and then come back to it and hit it again. It's a whole nother level of patience too. Letting it sit.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like you said, when it's green, like you're getting wet and stuff. You're like, man, this is crazy.
Oh man, wood turning is the most fun you can have in a shop with your pants on. Sorry, you make a big mess. You get to spend thousands of dollars on what are technically hand tools, right? So like,
right, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and the projects all go pretty quick too. That's the other thing is that like you could spend, I don't know, weeks of spare time, plural, trying to do fine furniture, right?
Yeah.
But like you can go from stump to bowl in like 4 hours if you really want to get after it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I watched videos of some of those guys with, they're turning 24-inch monster logs. They're loading them with a skid loader. I'm just like, no thanks. That's so much momentum. And I'm happy that I think my jet's at 1222, I think is the model.
Yeah.
So good entry level. I can clamp it to my workbench here. It's not, it kind of limits how big I can get on it. And, I just learned once again, tools have to be sharp. And then sharpening the tools is also a whole nother trick of wood turning is now you got to,
yeah, that's the next insane purchases that you get to make is the between $200 and $600 of sharpening gear.
Right.
That's how they get you.
I'm so nervous and frustrated about sharpening tools all the time that I'd almost just rather buy another set of chisels and just start over.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you need an apprentice, right? Hey, what's your job today? Sharpen everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my buddies that comes into the shop is obsessed with sharpening things. And so like we're a really good match in that regard. Yeah. Every once in a while you'll see him in the background of a reel of mine or something. And yeah, he really likes playing with the sharpeners and making things really sharp. So that works
fun.
out.
And it's satisfying, especially like on a hand plane. You get your first, once you figure out how to do a hand plane iron and do your first whisk, you're like, okay, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you use it until it's dull again, and you go sharpen it back up. And now instead of taking 20 minutes, maybe it took 5. And the next time takes, 5 minutes down to 2. And then we watched the Rob Costman videos where he's sharp in 30 seconds, and I never got to the 30 seconds yet. But it's not taking 20 minutes like it did in the beginning.
Yeah. So we've had a handful of other guests pop in since we started discussing the guessing numbers between 1 to 100 for goodies. This is just a reminder. And also, if you're not following Dustin, there's that little carrot right there, right? And when that thing drops down, yeah, there you go. You got it. When that little menu drops down, you should be following Dustin and Lumberox because these are good people. And he's desperately trying to put goodies into your hands, boys and girls. So let's make sure that we keep that flowing. Come on, you got any?
We've got 2 left. We've got one that's under 50, and we've got one that's over 50. And then Ed Mancini said to give his to the next person that joins. So Send Me Woodworks just won the Burr kit. So
Nice.
Oh man, and what a good person to receive it too. That guy's out there on the streets daily, man. He's a full timer, and he's been watching the show for a year and a half now, I think, and has been a guest on the show as well. Good people.
Nice. Yeah.
So I have a question. So you have, I mean, obviously you have a number of vendors that were willing to let you give away their products that you work with. How do you go about reaching out to brands that you want to work with? Like, how do you set up those relationships? Because I think a lot of people are interested in that.
Well,
Was it me? Did I do it?
No,
Nope.
I think he might be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G. Is it me?
No.
No.
I'm coming in loud and clear.
Yep. I'm moving. You're moving.
You guys are all buffeting a little bit. I wonder if it's just too much. Oh no!
Too much awesome in the box.
I don't know because my video is still coming in clear. Oh, he popped out. Maybe he's gonna switch to 5G and come back in. So we'll see. But man, boys and girls in the chat, because of Ed's generosity, Send Me just got what, a $80 kit of carbide burrs, right? Something like that. That's crazy.
Bunch of Christmas trees with 1/4 inch collet shafts.
That is awesome. That's what you put into your electric or air powered die grinder. You need a whole lot of air compressor to run that die grinder enough for that. But like, get after it, boys and girls. And Kamani, you totally get to guess because I don't think you have access to the chat with the secret numbers in it, right?
I don't.
Oh yeah, well then get in there, man. Let's see here. I'm gonna try inviting him back in again, or maybe he's doing a reset.
Looks like maybe his phone overheated.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. It's summertime. Do you guys remember when Kyle's phone used to just give up?
When I disappeared at the beginning of the show, I had to turn on the AC. I got out here and it's just bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot for sure. So we'll give him a chance to put his phone onto a bag of ice or something.
So come on, how was single dadding it? Did you ever learn the answer to your question on why the kids should exercise after taking baths and putting on their pajamas?
No, not at all. So for those who did not see my story or my reel, I was single dadding it from Thursday to Monday afternoon with 2 young girls. And there's a book, a storybook, and by Sandra Boyand.
Oh yeah, she's the dinosaur dance.
Yeah.
And I Love You, Pookie, right? Isn't that Sandra Boynton? Yep.
And so she has this one book called the Going to Bed book. And in that book, it starts off with all the animals. They take a bath, they put on their pajamas, and then they go exercise. And I was like, can anyone figure out how that makes sense? And I felt I sympathize. There were a lot of sympathetic parents out there who responded because it was like, I've read the exact same story. I got nothing for you. I've read that book to my kids, 15 years ago. Still don't know the answer. So, no. But it was a white knuckle ride of dealing with a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old all day for every day for a whole weekend. So I made sure my wife knew she was loved and missed when she got home.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, they're good. I mean, it's just when they're little. But luckily enough, there was a birthday party to go to this weekend. So my daughter ate her body weight in tortilla chips, and right, and then my other daughter ate her body weight in fruit bowls. So yeah, they slept in till like 7:30 the next morning. So I call that a win for me. So that was my father.
Definitely.
Yeah,
A victory.
Yeah.
And booyah. Look at this.
Go.
Put his phone back on ice, got himself on the 5Gs, and Yeah, Braden, are we still guessing numbers, especially for Mark L. Tucson, who needs to know that he needs to be guessing numbers between 1 and 100 to get free woodworking goodies?
We're still guessing. I'll narrow it down. We're now down to between, let's say, 15 and 45 and 60 and 90.
All right. That'll work. Okay, so we've got a handful of questions in the question box that we need to start working on. Oh, these are good. Ed stacked the deck. But before we get to Ed's questions, someone in the chat wanted to know how many chicken nuggets you can fit into your mouth at a time.
36.
That's like with gusto? Is this something that you've measured, or is this just the limit at which your body says no more nuggies?
No more nuggies, especially for McDonald's.
Okay, fair enough.
I was going to say, you have to clarify where the nuggets came from.
Yes.
Okay.
There's different levels and quality of said nuggies.
Yes.
Anyone that has shaped into a shape, I do not want to see how many I can fit.
Do you go one at a time, or do you like mash ball and then like
mash? You gotta mash them. Like you're making a snowball.
That's textbook. But then,
I mean, I didn't know if it was like a Cool Hand Luke thing, and you just kind of thought that consistency was key, right?
Right.
At that point, though, if you mash them together, isn't it technically just one mega nugget?
Could be.
You don't lose the fact that the nugget just because it got mushed into more nugget.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, nugget is also kind of a unit of measure, right? Right. So this is one nugget of chicken, or like one grip of Slim Fast cans. Like, I mean, like these are units of measure. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we should look at any other questions. We have to solve this tonight.
That's the one.
No man can eat 35 chicken nuggets except for my man Dustin.
That's it.
All right. So Ed Mancini wants to know, who is your number one woodworker, maker, influencer in your life? And Kimani is absolutely an acceptable answer to that question.
I would say I think that we all kind of changed as we progress in our woodworking of like maybe who we like to inspire. I would say mine right now is probably Trent Bresler, who wrote the book called Little and Often. I don't know if you've read or heard that book before.
No, but I will read it after this weekend.
An amazing audiobook. Is really good. Obviously, the old-fashioned is good too. But long story short, it's a guy that was born in the Midwest, kind of like me, who becomes estranged from the family, moves to New York, does New York things. His dad dies. He's left a very small portion of like old hand planes, hand tools. And in honor of his dad, he decides to build a 20-foot wood strip canoe in his New York house.
That's okay. When you said the name, I was like, wait, that the boat guy? That's the boat guy.
That's the boat. That is the boat guy.
The boat guy. Yes.
I wish we could all sell a boat for what Trent sells a boat for.
Yeah. For wall decoration.
Yes.
That Yeah, I follow him on, and so he doesn't do a lot of stories, or Instagram doesn't always show, but I saw like his last batch of stories and videos where he was, doing strip by strip, and in the process of layering on the carbon fiber and then sanding it down and then redoing it, like to make this canoe that then, took, 5 guys to haul out and then mount on a wall. And it was just, and that blows my mind. But yes,
I mean, if the world is flooding, I suppose it's better to be looking at it than looking for it, right?
At least it's there. You just gotta wait till the flood line hits that wall of the wall and you can grab it.
But if you mount it on the wall, I would assume that you're drilling through it and you're putting holes in your boat.
No? You make special like almost like for the cutting board brackets here, or like picture frames, and then it's scribed into the wall. Like it's all the work. I don't know if it's woodworking or art, because to me it's that line of
It's both.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's both. I mean, the boats themselves are gorgeous, epitomes of like woodworking, but then they become art because they just hang to be admired.
yeah.
So
One of my favorite ones by him is he built 2 canoes at the same time. One was walnut and one was basswood. And then he cut them, took them apart, and married them back together to make half and half.
oh wow,
You know,
So like,
I would love to, it was like a triangle on each one, and then the other one was
okay,
the angles married into each other.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I didn't know if it was like a hamburger bun or a hot dog bun.
No.
Like which way, like slicing a banana or yeah.
It's amazing, and like I said, now that I think his last canoe we're talking like 200,000.
Well, oh, is that all?
It'd be nice to know that the canoe is like your angles are right, because if you get them wrong, the canoe can only go in circles.
Right? Yeah, it's like a fish. It just always goes one way.
All right. Ed also wants to know, if you were to visit any woodworker's shop, who would you visit and why?
Any shop, huh? Well, I think Katz Moses' new shop would be pretty sweet. Because not only, I've met him before, he's a super cool dude. But his shop is not only woodworking, but he also does like the mass production stuff now for like, him and Tamar from 3 and 3 got together and they make the router jig kits. He's making all of that kind of stuff. So not only he's doing woodworking stuff on one side of the shop, you can walk the other eye and kind of see like the other side of the business of like e-commerce just flowing out, So I think that'd be kind of crazy to see.
That is awesome. Yeah. I'm waiting for somebody to say Norm Abrams, right? And I understand the complexities of doing that, but like, man, when I was a kid, Norm Abrams' New Yankee and Bob Vila was This Old House.
I think
yeah.
I kind of want like reboots to come out where he gives like the biscuit joiner like on the wall and then buys a domino. Just to see what he would do with that kind of technology now. Because everything was the biscuit joiner. The old
was the biscuit joiner and his freaking shopsmith. Oh my God, did that guy know how to work a shopsmith? It was crazy.
Right. And I mean, if anyone here wants to give me a domino, I'll graciously accept it.
Okay, let's see here. What is your favorite finish on wood products?
Rubio Monaco.
Is that because Rubio told you to do that, or is that because you truly feel this way?
So I started using Rubio when I was in my garage. And before, so let's back to, I took woodworking lessons from a guy here in Arizona for about 1.5 years.
Oh, cool.
He was a retired cabinet maker, fine furniture maker, made his fortune, and now all he does is teach all ages woodworking. And I found him, he's from Iowa, I'm from Iowa, so we had like that Midwestern banter. And, with him, everything was a spray conversion varnish, a spray lacquer, which for years and years, that was the finish that everyone used on everything just because you could do it. Well, okay, I'll go home to my garage where I don't have proper dust collection. It's always dusty. I can't spray good stuff in there. I think I get a good coat and I come back and I feel and it's 220 because all the dust from the air settles. So that's when I found Rubio and I'm like, I can apply this next to someone that's sanding and be fine. I can wipe it on, I can buff it, I let it sit and I towel dry it off and I don't do anything else. You can now with the the newer technology like the carbon coatings you can put on top of Rubio, like Black Forest ceramics and stuff like that. That's amazing. But I think Rubio is great. And another thing for me, when I deliver a product now to a client, there's no finish smell, there's no lacquer smell. Rubio smells pleasant and it's food safe. You can eat off of it. You can use it on cutting boards. It's meant to be a floor finish, so it's super durable and you don't have to worry. Before with varnishes and lacquers, if there's a scuff or a scratch, you can't trust the client is going to have the tooling to make that go away. Whereas Rubio, you can send them a little sample, and some of their restore, their renew product, and it's super simple. They can do it themselves and not have to worry about it. So, everything I send out, because I send a lot to like the East Coast. Whatever color I use, I send them a bottle with it and a little thing of renew, and I go through the instructions, because shipping and everything shakes. I don't have to worry about it. And then, you get Rubio that comes in, pretty much every color that you can imagine. You don't have to like go down to Lowe's and or the big box store and get all the American stains, all the the Min waxes and all those. You just Rubio has a color, and it's going to work.
And the thing that always surprises me from both times that I've played with Rubio is how little you need to cover an insanely large area.
Yeah, I mean, the cans that it comes in, those are good for like 400 square feet. And, that was my first time using it. It's expensive. I poured like a third of the can on there because I didn't know. You know what? We don't read directions,
Right.
And I'm wiping, and I'm like, what is going on? And then now I have a syringe, and I do everything by volume. And there's a volume calculator you can get on their website. Hey, how many square feet are you doing? And then that way too, that everything's evenly coated. And you can just go around it. And I have a 10-inch buffer that's kind of dedicated just for Rubio finishes with a white Scotch-Brite pad, kind of like Blacktail does on all his stuff. And like I said, cures in 24 hours, fully set up within 48. And you can put water on it. It's water resistant. You don't have to worry about it. And it smells good. Yes, I get that. Rubio is my favorite color. Yes.
We have a winner of the Rubio packet, by the way, which is Would You Like One, who actually sent me a professional referral. So I'm really excited that
Nice.
he won some goodies. That's awesome. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And thank you for the commission referral, by the way. I've already said it once to you, but thank you. That was huge.
He was also one of my first sticker swaps.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, and he's doing a bunch of live stuff now, too. So, for those of you who are playing along, if you're not following Would You Like One, you might want to get in on some of those really fun lives that he's up to also.
Yeah.
Kimani still hasn't won any treasures, and that's okay.
Kimani's getting close. I've watched him get close.
Now you're just playing with his emotions.
He is.
Good at numbers.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Not just disappears after asking.
In Azkaban.
Let's see. If you were stranded on an island with 110 volt and 220 volt for some reason, what 3 tools would you take?
Awesome.
So am I building a boat to get off that island?
Or building a paradise to enjoy that island. I mean, dealer's choice.
Well,
it's not part of the question.
Have to be table saw, joiner, planer.
I mean, chainsaw.
You can do a lot of that. You can join things. You can make boats with that. Dado blade, which unfortunately for our European friends, you guys can't play with, but that's fine. You can do a lot with that.
Okay, table saw, joiner, and what was the other one?
Planer.
So how are you getting the trees down on this island? Are you holding the table saw on the side?
I'm going to take my planer and push it over the trees like a bulldozer.
Quick, just plane it from the bottom.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, exactly. That's smart. Yeah, maybe. Well, I can have a chainsaw because those aren't 110 or 220.
I mean, a 220 chainsaw sounds kind of BA. I'm not going to lie.
Mask and mill out of it. And there you go.
Yeah, it's got 20 amps at 220 would be a monstrous chainsaw. It would make scary noises.
I'm disappointed that you're not going to utilize this opportunity to get a hold of that domino that you want.
I know, right?
Yeah, and a Festool domino because it's one of the best tools I don't own.
Right. Yeah. Someday I'll have one.
Very cool.
I'm loving watching Kimani guess because he guesses sequentially and he gets literally right next to the number and then changes way off and then goes sequentially the wrong way. And he's done it for 4 things. It's the best.
That's my life. Yeah.
Ooh.
I like to.
Ooh, okay.
It's my seduction game with the numbers. You know, I get close and I'm like, ooh.
All right, our last number is in the 80s.
Okay.
I picked all the 80s.
You have not. You've picked all but this one.
That's the last 80 I haven't picked.
Nope.
Not there yet.
This is comedy gold. All right, boys and girls. What form of woodworking that maybe you haven't tried yet would you like to try?
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would say like Japanese style carpentry. Where
Okay, so like just no fasteners, all
friction
joinery.
fit, amazing techniques. I mean, I have some Japanese pole saws, but I don't have any Japanese planes or anything. You know, I think their whole mindset of pulling the tool towards you on everything is this. It makes sense because you can eliminate a lot of fixturing. But some of their, things that they built in that country that are still here that were made who knows how long ago with no wood glue, no hide glue, just friction and dowels is still here. And I think it's crazy that they can do that kind of thing.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys just saw me get buzzed by a lightning bug that's in my shop, or a firefly, depending on where you are colloquially. But yeah, that's what that face was all about. I'm sure Braden's going to clip it and throw it into the... Also, did Kimani win his treats?
He finally hit the only 80s number that he hadn't hit yet.
Were there 2 Rubios?
There was 2 Rubios, yep.
I'm shocked. I said the 80s, and everybody went for everything except for 85.
Right.
Nice.
Now that I have claimed victory, I'm giving it away to somebody in the office.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, but Silent Mars, you've already won treasures. All right, let's see here. We are just about to the end of the show, so let's, as a group, ponder this one. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I want to start this one that I think that this answer has a lot of ties to our chicken nugget question earlier. What do we qualify a chuckable amount of wood?
Well, obviously, 1 chuck is the amount of wood that a woodchuck could chuck, assuming a woodchuck could chuck wood.
I have nothing. I've got nothing after that.
Right, okay, but let's think about it. Is this an African or a European woodchuck?
Oh,
Is it hard
African
softwood?
swallow?
Right? I mean, this is important.
Do you think
Or what is the
matter if the
average
woodchuck-
chucking speed of an unladen woodchuck? Right? Like, this is all important for us to consider when trying to factor out how much wood a woodchuck could chuck, assuming woodchucks could chuck wood.
Dustin, how much do you think a woodchuck could chuck if the woodchuck was equipped with cut-saw bits and power tools?
Oh, approximately 36 board feet a second.
That is the only right answer.
It is. Yes.
Oh, good.
I like this one mostly because it's a different direction. What project do you regret doing most?
Ooh.
What project do I regret doing the most? I don't regret like any project because I learned something. Every project, since I'm still relatively new, every project I'm learning something that I didn't know before, of like how to do something without a domino, or how to fix things. And I had a client where I shipped a table across the country, and they wanted the legs to come off so they could move it around and put the legs back on. And it wasn't that like I regret doing it. I regret doing it how I did. I'm 300 pounds. I stood on the table. It's fine. It's not going to break. But I just wish I could come back to those projects now, learning more, and be like, I had a different way to do it now that is better. But at the end of the day, the way I did it and the way I would do it now, you're never going to see. Unless you're a woodworker, I don't know how you guys do, but every time I go to a restaurant, I see wood tables, I stick my fingers underneath the table like, laminated crap. Or look at that.
You're not looking for bubble gum to keep you company?
No bubble gum. No, unfortunately not.
Because, I mean, that's like an hors d'oeuvre that you didn't have to pay for.
Right, yeah. Well, that's after dinner service.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Easy there, Buddy the Elf.
But yeah, no, for me, it's when I see that, like, there's like farmhouse or reclaimed lumber looking tables, and they usually have like welded steel corners or braces around the outside of it. I'd like to look at those welds, and I get judgmental for like 10 to 15 seconds and think to myself, like, man, I should be welding up tables.
Yeah.
Because I can totally make bad welds like this. I can make bad welds like this all day long. I can do such a bad job.
I
So
do the same too, and I watch like a reel, and they have a wood that you could tell wasn't jointed or planed, and it's just curved. And I see that clamp come into action as they're gluing up. I'm like, oh no, like it's gonna work for a little bit, but one day, all of a sudden, it's just not gonna work anymore.
Oh yeah.
And just like welding metal, the glue's not gonna fail. The wood's gonna, boom.
absolutely. All right. So the time is now 10:59. That means that our hour has adjourned. We've given away treasures to so many lucky Sawdust Talk viewers this evening. Your generosity feels unmatched in the last 12 months.
Perfect.
All I ask now is for you to give us some words of motivation to get the three of us knuckleheads that are helping you out on the show tonight, and then the 13 to 22 people in the audience to kick open that shop door, start making a mess, and then possibly making some money off that mess. What you got, bud?
So there's a gentleman by the name of David Pye, who was a woodworker back in the 70s, and he talked about the workmanship of risk and the workmanship of certainty. And all of us in this room that are watching, none of us deal with certainty. We're all doing the realm of risk. Certainty is a CNC is certainty. If you have a good program, that's certainty. But still, most of us that use a CNC, we're taking something off of that CNC and putting it into something else that we're making with our hands. And working in that workmanship of risk is what is really rewarding to me. And I think that if we live more in that realm of risk when it comes to woodworking, and we can make 17 cuts, but they not all be the same, but the end product is glorious and beautiful. That's what we're all in this about. How can we take the workmanship of risk and just really pushing it forward to like, man, this is great.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Braden, make sure you clip it. Man, that's good stuff. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
well, it has been awesome having you on the show tonight, Dustin. Thank you for giving away treasures to all of our cool kids. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Boys and girls that are in the audience, if you're not already following, make sure that you are reaching out to Dustin, talking to him about his charity. There's good people on your screen tonight. Treat them well.
Also,
just a reminder, if you did win something, make sure you please send me a DM with your address, and then I'll get all that stuff drop ship out to you.
And one more reminder, anybody who has not in the live or started halfway through, don't forget that Sawdust Talk is now available on Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Public Radio Podcast, Amazon Podcasts. It's on pretty much everywhere, so you can find us. So if you want to listen to us on the drive to work, you have options.
Awesome.
Well,
great job. Dustin. Thanks, Dustin. You guys have a great night. I will see you all next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And get out there and get awesome.
Bye, y'all.
Night, everybody.
We'll see you.